Hey there, my name is Dan, product specialist at Aplos, and I'm so glad that you took a few minutes of your time to check out our video. You know, a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to events, you actually really have two different kinds of participants. You have donors and you have participants. And it might seem a little unusual to talk about those two different groups, but I'm going to show you a few tips of understanding the difference between a participant and a true event donor. So let's check out some ideas. So we're going to spend the next few minutes and we're going to talk a little bit about event donors and event participants. And believe it or not, if you think about events and you think about special events and fundraising events, there really are two kinds of people that participate. There are those who come just because they're excited about the event. They heard about it. Maybe they had a friend. They're coming to support a friend. And then there's people that are going to come no matter what. So we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit for a few minutes and kind of ask what the difference is. And the reason why this is important is that you want to think about strategically when you're putting on a special event, who those donor participants are, and how can you better deepen that engagement or keep that loyalty going year after year. So what is the difference? One, the motivation behind supporting maybe a friend or a colleague or a loved one versus supporting a mission that you're personally passionate about. Probably the most common example of these kinds of things are like you see these kind of walkathons and runs, and where maybe it's something around breast cancer awareness, or people are going to go out and support it because their friends are the ones that it's on behalf of or in memory of or something like that. Not a bad thing necessarily, but the question more ties around is if that person is no longer a part of it, are those people going to still participate in the event? So it's a great way to get people there, but it's more thinking, how do we deepen that relationship? So you have event donors and you have organizational donors. An event donor is going to be more likely to stop supporting an organization if their link to that event is no longer there. And whereas a organizational donor is not going to be dependent on that third party. They're going to be there no matter what, through thick or thin. So it's important that when you're planning those events, you're kind of thinking about that mix and making sure that you're not relying on maybe just two or three people that have a large contact list and they're inviting all their friends. And then those two or three people maybe move away and suddenly you don't have that connection anymore. So again, when planning those special events, you want to think about ways to engage people that become passionate, not just about the event itself, but about the organization. Events are fun. I mean, I've been to some really fun events. You've got, food events and wine events and auctions and cornhole tournaments and all those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, it's your organization that you want people to try and support. I heard this term a number of years ago, and I've always been a big fan of it, is how do you make your event a little bit going from transactional to transformational? Meaning that, I give you $25, you then give me, a chicken dinner and some entertainment and tell me a little story, versus how do I go and how does my money then become something that really becomes transformational in that event? And it can really be done. So again, part of it is on the front end. Before you start planning the event, you want to think about those different participants and what their connection to your organization is. If you are a nonprofit or a ministry that has alumni, this is a great way to kind of engage in that. But sometimes alumni become really short-lived. They move away. They only did this thing for maybe one season in their life, and then you lose that connection. So you want to think about deepening those relationships to your organization. And then there's more opportunities to incorporate the donor cycle with organizational donors. The donor cycle, if you don't know what that is, that talks about when you bring new donors into your organization through awareness, and then you steward them, and you build lifelong relationships. So as more and more people start coming to your events, you want to be thinking about what are tools that you have in place to start to deepen those relationships with those donors. So again, another way to think about it is don't ask people just to donate, but instead ask them to join, ask them to build, ask them to participate, and really become deeply involved in your organization. Appeal to the identity and emotion and not just the wallets. Well, thanks for checking out this video. I hope this helps you better understand the difference between participants and donors, and maybe how the two come together and how you can better be a little bit more strategic in your event planning. For more information, check out our Aplos Academy.